staying focused these days, it feels like. Well, like trying to catch mist with your bare hands, doesn't it?
It really does.
We're just pulled in so many directions. Notifications, emails, that little red dot everywhere. It's just relentless.
Mm.
Especially if you're ambitious, trying to climb the ladder, the pressure just seems to multiply.
Mm-hmm.
We actually came across this story in the material we're looking at today. It really stood out. It's about an executive, let's call her Sarah, super driven, taking on absolutely everything.
Right. The classic high achiever trap.
Exactly. But she just found herself drowning pretty quickly, overwhelmed by the volume, constantly interrupted, really struggling to just concentrate.
How it leads places.
Yeah, it led to missed deadlines, mistakes, feeling completely burned out, and then starting to doubt herself. Like maybe she wasn't cut out for it after all. It's a story, I think.
Oh, well, I think a lot of us can probably relate to on some level.
For sure. So today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly this problem. We're using insights from a book called 10X Your Focus to Achieve Career Success in a Competitive World. Apparently, it pulls from interviews with corporate leaders, lots of research.
Yeah, and our mission here really is to unpack the most important strategies,
Yeah.
maybe some surprising facts from that material.
Okay.
The goal is to help you develop that ability to stay focused, figure out how to prioritize tasks, and actually achieve your career goals without that crushing feeling of being overwhelmed,
Right.
like Sarah felt.
Okay, so the book kicks off by really painting this picture. The challenge facing professionals today, it's clearly not just Sarah, right? It's this immense pressure and complexity baked into the modern corporate world.
Absolutely. The material identifies several specific culprits, reasons why so many ambitious people feel this way.
Like what?
Well, there's the obvious one, just the sheer volume of work, people taking on too many projects at once, then the constant distractions. We all know emails, social media pings, people stopping by your desk, and the book really goes after multitasking. Most people think it helps, right?
Yeah, efficiency.
But the research cited shows it's actually detrimental. Then you add in the speed of change in business, navigating complex internal politics, and just the personal stress and anxiety that inevitably bleeds into work. It's a lot.
Wow, it sounds like just being constantly pulled apart. And the book connects this overload directly to that lack of focus, which then spirals into, missed deadlines, mistakes, burnout, and that really painful self-doubt Sarah went through.
Exactly. And what's really interesting, I think, is the insight that these aren't just like external hurdles you have to jump over.
Right.
The material really emphasizes how they directly impact your internal state, your capacity to actually concentrate. So the core argument is that prioritizing and actively cultivating focus isn't just a nice-to-have tip. It's framed as a fundamental strategy you need to navigate this whole landscape effectively.
So, okay, if that's the problem space, what is this focus we're talking about, according to this source anyway?
Well, the book explains focus isn't just, a feeling. There's actual science here. Research shows the brain has limited processing capacity. So when you try to multitask, your brain isn't really doing things simultaneously. No, it's constantly switching contexts. And every switch costs cognitive energy. It makes you less efficient. Our ability to really concentrate deeply is limited by these finite brain resources,
Yeah.
especially when we're just bombarded by stimuli all day long.
Ah, okay. So it's really about deliberately directing that limited mental horsepower where it needs to go.
Precisely. And for people driving their careers, the book shows focus is absolutely essential for several key reasons, actually.
Biking.
Well, first, it's the bedrock of effective time and task management. It lets you prioritize properly. That leads directly to increased productivity and efficiency because you're wasting less energy context switching.
Makes sense.
It also helps you stay motivated. Successfully completing tasks, especially focused ones, builds momentum. And critically, particularly as you move up, focus is vital for making better strategic decisions. You need to dedicate real mental resources to see the big picture.
The book gives some great real-world examples, too, right? I remember reading about Arundhati Bhattacharya.
Yes, leading the State Bank of India through huge growth, known for her focus. Or Sanjay Mehrotra at Micron Technology, often cited for his disciplined time management and clear strategic focus.
Okay, let's get tactical then. Those distractions, social media, email, meetings, colleagues dropping by, they feel like the biggest battle. How does the book suggest actually winning that fight?
Yeah, it gets quite practical here. Offer strategies, often simple sounding, but maybe hard to stick to. For social media, the main idea is intentionality. It's not necessarily about quitting cold turkey for everyone,
Right.
but setting specific, limited times to check it. using blocking apps during focused work blocks, and importantly, becoming aware of the emotional pull, that
Yeah.
FOMO or comparison trap.
I really like that framing being intentional instead of just reactive. What about the email avalanche? That never stops.
Yeah, the book strongly recommends developing a system, an actual system for your inbox.
Okay.
So designating specific times to check and respond, using filters or labels to triage what's important versus what can wait, and establishing clear communication protocols with your team about response times. The big takeaway is tackling the sense of urgency that makes you feel like every email needs an instant reply. Batching is key.
That makes sense. Batching saves that constant interruption. And meetings, they can feel like black holes for time. Does the book cover those?
Oh, absolutely. The advice is similar. Intentionality again, in scheduling and prep.
So, like questioning if the meeting is even needed.
Exactly. Setting clear objectives and agendas beforehand. Keeping things focused. Using tools effectively.
Mhm.
It also points out the emotional drain meetings can cause, especially if they're unstructured or, highly political.
And interruptions from colleagues. That's a tricky one, especially if you want to be collaborative.
It is tricky. The suggestion is to manage your availability proactively. Maybe use visual cues like headphones mean do not disturb, set office hours for drop-ins, use communication tools to signal when you're in deep work.
Mhm.
The key is having clear, polite protocols so people know how and when it's okay to interrupt for something urgent versus holding non-urgent questions.
Okay. Beyond tackling those specific things, what about the bigger picture, like the environment or your mindset for focus?
Yeah, the book covers that too. Physically minimizing distractions, just turning off notifications is huge. Simple, but powerful.
Definitely.
Creating a dedicated distraction-free physical space helps. Maybe adjusting lighting, using noise-canceling headphones if you need them. And critically, it really emphasizes practicing mindfulness.
Mindfulness,
Agreed.
meditation.
Not necessarily hours of meditation, though that can help, but more about developing the skill of being present, intentionally directing your attention where you want it, rather than letting it be pulled everywhere. It's a skill that improves with practice.
The examples here really drive it home. Tim Cook at Apple, known for that laser focus, clear communication, disciplined time management.
Right. Or Gwynne Shotwell at SpaceX, prioritizing execution and time allocation to hit incredibly ambitious goals. These aren't accidents. They're built on intentional focus strategies.
Okay, so dealing with distractions is clearly vital. But the book seems to argue there's a deeper foundation needed, right? It starts with knowing where you're actually trying to point that focus towards.
Exactly. Identifying your goals and priorities is presented as, like, step zero, non-negotiable. Especially crucial, the book says, for younger executives figuring out their path.
Goals versus priorities, how does it define them?
Goals are the broader, longer-term things, like starting a company, reaching a certain leadership level. Priorities are the specific, shorter-term tasks you do now that directly contribute to those goals. It starts with reflection, understanding your values, your strengths, where you genuinely want to go.
I remember that example of Anish in the book. Wanted to start a tech company. So his long-term goal was the company. His priorities became things like gaining software development experience, building his network, learning about funding. He filtered tasks based on whether they served that bigger aim.
Exactly. And the book mentions leaders known for this clarity. Indra Nooyi at PepsiCo, famous for her long-term strategic priorities. Pat Gelsinger at Intel, big on setting ambitious goals and ensuring organizational alignment.
What I found really fascinating was the connection the book makes between focus and developing a growth mindset. We hear that term a lot. What does the book mean by it specifically?
It pulls directly from Carol Dweck's work. A growth mindset is basically the belief that your abilities, intelligence, talent aren't fixed. They can be developed through dedication, hard work, learning. It's the opposite of a fixed mindset where you think you're just born with it.
Okay.
And the book argues that people with a growth mindset are naturally better positioned for focus. Why? Because they embrace challenges, they see effort as the path forward, and they view setbacks not as, like, proof they're inadequate, but as valuable learning opportunities.
That makes so much sense, especially in a world that's constantly changing. How does the book say you cultivate that mindset?
It gives practical steps. Actively embrace challenges, don't shy away. Persist when things get tough.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on the process of learning, not just the outcome. Analyze failures objectively. What can I learn here? Maintain a positive attitude towards effort. and actively seek constructive feedback.
Uh-huh.
Reed Hastings at Netflix is used as an example. He's very open about learning from failures and building that culture of experimentation at Netflix.
And it's not just mindset, is it? The book really hammers home the role of habits and routines in sustaining focus.
Oh, absolutely. Positive habits and routines are presented as powerful tools. They basically conserve your limited mental energy by automating decisions. You don't have to think about doing them.
Like starting the day, right?
Exactly. Establishing a consistent morning routine. Getting enough sleep, that's huge. And the book strongly advises avoiding checking email or social media first thing in the morning
Why is that?
because it immediately puts you in a reactive mode for the rest of the day. You start by responding to other people's agendas.
Ah, like Jack Dorsey's famous routine, waking up super early for meditation, exercise.
Right. He credits that structure with helping him manage leading multiple companies. The book also doubles down on single tasking, really argues against multitasking as a focus killer
We keep coming back to that.
because it's crucial. And it strongly advocates for regular breaks, not just micro breaks, but real breaks throughout the day and longer breaks like actual vacations.
Taking breaks feels so counterintuitive when you're swamped, though.
I know. But the book makes a compelling case that it increases productivity and creativity long term. It prevents burnout, recharges your cognitive batteries.
And it broadens us out to overall self-care, too, right?
Yeah.
Healthy eating, exercise, mindfulness.
Yes. Even seeking professional help if needed. It frames self-care not as a fluffy extra, but as foundational, essential for maintaining focus and preventing that burnout that derailed Sarah in the example. Angela Ahrendts is mentioned, prioritizing exercise and family time to stay balanced and effective.
Okay, moving beyond personal habits, the book also explores external resources. Technology is a big one. And it's not just the enemy of focus, is it?
Not at all. That's a key point. Used strategically, tech is a powerful ally.
How so?
It can streamline workflows, automate boring, repetitive tasks that drain your focus, improve communication efficiency, all freeing up your mental energy for the deep work. The book mentions specific types of tools.
Right, like time management apps, Todoist, things like that.
Yeah, or Forest, tomato timer for enforcing those Pomodoro sprints. Communication tools like Slack or Zoom used, well, they beat endless email chains. Collaboration platforms like Google Drive or Teams. Automation tools like Zapier or IFTTT connecting apps. Evernote for organizing notes. Lots of options.
So it's really about being deliberate, choosing the right tool for the job and using it to support focus, not undermine it.
Precisely. The examples given are leaders like Daniel Zhang at Alibaba or Reed Hastings. Again, people who didn't just use tech operationally, but leveraged it strategically to innovate and drive massive growth.
And it's not just tech. Building strong relationships and networks is also highlighted, which maybe I wouldn't immediately connect to focus, but the book does.
It does, and it's an important insight. The argument is basically that career success rarely happens in a vacuum.
Right?
Authentic connections provide vital support, especially during tough times. That network is crucial when your resilience is tested. Good collaboration makes work more efficient, less burdensome, which frees up focus. And the book distinguishes this from just like transactional networking.
What's the difference?
It emphasizes building genuine relationships based on shared values, mutual respect, offering help, not just collecting contacts.
The book had some nice examples there, like Tom fostering a really collaborative team.
Yeah, harnessing collective focus. Or Maya building authentic connections at events that led to unexpected doors opening. The strategies mentioned include identifying mentors, seeking collaborative projects, expanding your network thoughtfully, not just randomly using platforms like LinkedIn effectively, and crucially, nurturing those relationships over time, not just making the connection and forgetting about it.
Like that Emily story, regularly checking in and offering value.
Exactly. It's a long game. The book even touches on etiquette and how these relationships help with perspective, mentorship, building your brand, all indirectly supporting your focus and progress.
Okay, but even with all the focus techniques, goals, habits, network setbacks happen, they're inevitable, right? How does the book suggest handling those moments?
This is where resilience comes in.
Yep.
The book presents it as absolutely fundamental.
Resilience.
The ability to adapt and recover from adversity, stress, setbacks. But it's not just bouncing back to where you were. The book emphasizes that overcoming setbacks is actually a powerful catalyst for growth and learning. You gain insights you just wouldn't get otherwise.
So kind of reframing failure not as the end, but as data, feedback.
Exactly that. And the book offers a whole toolkit for building resilience. One key is that reframing piece, consciously choosing to see the setback as a learning opportunity.
Okay.
Setting realistic, maybe smaller, smart goals right after helps you regain momentum. Leaning on that support network we just talked about, peers, mentors, family, is critical for perspective and encouragement.
Yeah.
Practicing self-care again, it keeps coming back, is essential to have the physical and mental capacity to cope. Staying positive, using mindfulness to manage stress, staying flexible and adaptable,
Mm-hmm.
all crucial.
It seems like a lot of these are connected.
They really are. Seeking feedback, even tough 360 feedback, gives you the raw data for learning. Deliberately analyzing why things went wrong. And just maintaining persistence, not giving up easily.
It really underscores how interconnected all these elements are. Self-care, networks, mindset, they all support each other, building this sustainable foundation. Now, the book gets into some really interesting, more science-backed techniques for boosting focus, goes beyond just habits. Let's dig into those a bit.
Yeah, this section's quite strong. First, it covers mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR. Developed by John Kabat-Zinn, it's a structured, usually 8-week program, uses meditation, body scanning, gentle yoga, all to cultivate that moment-to-moment, non-judgmental awareness.
And the benefits listed are pretty significant, right? Reduced stress, better emotional regulation.
And crucially for this discussion, enhanced cognitive function,
Mm-hmm.
including attention and focus. It even mentions potential immune system benefits.
Wow. Okay. What else?
Another well-known one, the Pomodoro technique, Francisco Cirillo's method.
Right, the timer thing.
Exactly. Breaking work into focused sprints, typically 25 minutes, then a short break, maybe 5 minutes. After maybe 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break.
How does that help focus, according to the book?
It encourages single tasking during the sprint, and the built-in breaks prevent mental fatigue, keeping you fresher over longer periods. Creates a bit of urgency, too.
I've definitely heard of that one. The book mentions apps like Forest or Tomato Timer that can help implement it, right?
Yeah, they add structure, sometimes a bit of gamification. Then there's cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT.
Isn't that mainly for like anxiety or depression?
It's widely used there, yes.
What?
But the book highlights how its core principles are directly applicable to improving focus. CBT helps you identify and challenge negative thought patterns.
How does that connect to focus?
Well, those negative thoughts, worrying, ruminating, self-criticism, can constantly hijack your attention. They create mental noise that interferes with concentration. So techniques like thought records or cognitive restructuring can help you gain mental clarity and quiet that noise, improving focus.
That's an interesting angle. So are these techniques just for people who feel they have a specific problem, or can anyone benefit?
The book really frames them as tools for anyone. Anyone looking to enhance their focus, manage stress better, improve overall well-being, they can be applied in work, study, personal life, basically building mental fitness.
And it even touches on some really cutting-edge stuff, right? I remember reading about transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS.
Yes, it describes TMS briefly. It's a non-invasive technique using magnetic fields to stimulate specific brain areas, often the prefrontal cortex, which is key for executive functions.
And the idea is?
The research cited suggests it has potential to improve things like working memory, attention, decision-making. It's definitely more in the advanced research or clinical space right now, but interesting.
Sounds almost sci-fi.
Yeah.
And the other one was neurofeedback.
Neurofeedback is a type of biofeedback. You essentially see your own brain activity in real time, usually from an EEG,
Yeah.
and you learn to regulate it.
Train your brain waves.
Kind of, yeah. It's
Yeah.
based on neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change. The book notes studies showing it can help improve attention, working memory, executive function. It has clinical uses too, like for ADHD. It's about learning to achieve brain states associated with better focus.
Wow. So the book covers this huge spectrum from, simple habit changes and mindset shifts all the way to structured programs and even these advanced brain training technologies. It's a lot to take in.
It really is comprehensive.
So after exploring all these different facets, the problems, the science, the strategies, resilience, tech, networks, these brain techniques, how does the book kind of wrap it all up? How do you sustain focus and achieve that long-term success?
Yeah, the final section really emphasizes that it's a holistic approach. There's no single magic bullet.
Right.
It's about consistently weaving together all these elements we've talked about, setting those crystal clear goals and priorities, cultivating and actively maintaining that growth mindset, building and sticking to positive habits and routines, using technology strategically, not reactively, knowing how to bounce back from setbacks by building resilience, prioritizing self-care, like religiously, maintaining a positive attitude even when it's tough, committing to continuous learning because things always change, actively networking and collaborating. And finally, the book really circles back to staying connected to your underlying purpose, your why.
Ah, purpose piece.
Yeah. Seeing that purpose as your North Star helps you navigate the noise and keeps your focus directed over the long haul.
It really does sound like a multi-pronged approach. Each piece kind of reinforces the others, not just a list of tips.
Exactly.
Well, we've taken a really deep dive into this material today, uncovered a whole toolkit, really, for boosting focus and hopefully achieving more career success. From understanding why it's so hard these days and tackling those specific distractions, email meetings, whatever, to building that solid foundation with goals, mindset, habits. We looked at using tech wisely, building networks, developing resilience, and even touched on some pretty fascinating science-based techniques.
And the core message, I think, throughout the book and our discussion is really clear. Focus isn't some fixed trait you either have or you don't.
Right. It's a skill.
It's a developable skill. And it's absolutely essential in today's world, which is just, hyper-competitive and filled with distractions. By intentionally applying even just a few of these strategies we've talked about, maybe starting small,
Like what?
like scheduling your email time,
Yeah.
or practicing just a few minutes of mindfulness, or just making sure you actually take those scheduled breaks. Doing those things consistently can significantly impact your productivity, reduce that feeling of overwhelm that Sarah had, and just improve your overall well-being.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now?
Well, it raises a really important question, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If focus is a skill you can actively build, something you can strengthen through practice and being intentional, and if so many of the common distractions are things you can learn to manage through systems and protocols and boundaries, then how much of the overwhelm or lack of focus you might be feeling right now is actually, well, modifiable? How much is really within your power to change through conscious effort and applying some of these very strategies we've unpacked from the book?
Think about that as you go about your day. Which single strategy from this deep dive could you maybe pick? Just one, to try implementing today to start 10xing your own focus.